So 2 years ago, I was able to quit my 12-year engineering career and go full-time with a business that I'd been building on the side for the last 4 years. And this business I built alongside working my full-time 9-to-5 job. And I wanted to make this video to motivate people who are in a position where you're going to work right now. Maybe you're working a job that you don't really enjoy. Maybe it's something that you've done because you went to uni or college and you're just there because you've got the education, you've got the skills, and you feel like that's what you should be doing. But for those people that are watching this video and you feel like you're meant for more out of life and you're capable of more and you want a business or you want a life that enables you to have more flexibility, more free time and more money, then building a business will give you that. Now, I'm not going to say that business is easy, because it's not. It can be extremely difficult. It's one of the best self-development paths that you can ever go on, because you learn a lot about yourself, and the skills that we need to develop along the way is not easy to do. But the result that it gives you when you get it right is just incredible. It can change your life, because you can go from earning an average salary and working 40 hours a week to working a lot less and doubling, tripling, or even more your income. And that's one of the best feelings in the world. So it's Tuesday afternoon and I'm out for a walk with the dog. And this is what I do most days now, because the businesses that I run require my time, but I can dictate when I put that time in. So if I wanted to work in the morning, like this morning, or in the evenings, like I will do tonight, then I can do. And also I work the weekends. So it gives you that flexibility to mix up your week a little bit, so you can pick and choose what you work on and when you work. And I apologize if the mic sounds a bit muffled, because it's very windy today and I'm not sure how this is going to sound, so hopefully it's okay. But I was in a position for a very long time when I was at my engineering job where I just didn't enjoy the work anymore. I didn't like getting up at 6:30 in the morning, getting in my car, sitting in traffic, getting to work, sitting in meetings with people that I didn't really get on with, and just being stuck in a building where I felt like the work that I was doing was a little bit too easy. I didn't really feel like I was outside of my comfort zone. I wanted to grow. I felt like I hit my ceiling very early. And I guess I stayed there because I was just comfortable. I was on a semi-decent wage. It wasn't awful. It wasn't the best, but it enabled me to be comfortable. And I think that's one of the most dangerous places you can be, because if you're on, let's say you get paid enough so you can put a roof over your head, you can afford a nice car and a couple of holidays every single year, a few takeaways a month and some nice clothes. That's the worst place you can be, because that puts you in the comfort zone. And once you're in that comfort zone, it's very difficult to get out. You need a lot of pain, you need a lot of motivation and ambition to get out of that. But let's say you're on £30,000 to £40,000 per year. That's probably the worst place to be, because that makes you comfortable there, right? So it's very important that if you are in a situation where you hate your job, or not even hate your job, that's probably the wrong word, but more so you feel unmotivated with the work you're doing, you feel like you're meant for more, you want to experience a different life where you have more flexibility and free time, then this is where we need to be learning skills. And this is exactly what I did. So around 6 years into that job, bearing in mind I worked there for 12 years, 6 years in, I started learning about online business. I started reading, watching, and just trying to consume as much knowledge and information as possible, because I knew that the only way to live the life that I wanted was to build my own business. I saw this very early on. I saw the entrepreneurs, I saw that lifestyle that a lot of people I knew were living, and that was the result of grafting for a long time to build these businesses that will eventually give you that life. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because going down this entrepreneurial path in some ways is incredibly difficult, and it takes a lot of dedication, discipline, and patience as well, because it doesn't happen overnight. We have to put in many years of learning the skills in the first place, and then taking action on the things that we're learning, failing a bunch of times, and then we eventually get to the point where we know enough to start seeing the results from the work that we're doing. A lot of people fail this. You hear like, studies being done all the time, the amount of businesses that fail, but it's not usually the business that fails. It's down to the entrepreneur. It's down to the founder, because they haven't got it in them to continue when it's tough, because it's very difficult to carry on when you're not seeing any results, any tangible results. And that's what separates the winners from the losers. The winners just refuse to quit. And I think that's important to take note of, because like I said, most businesses do not fail because the business is a bad idea. In some cases, obviously they do, but for the most part, it's usually down to the actual founder not having the motivation, not having the discipline, and just quitting too early. 6 years in, I started learning about these skills. I started applying these skills and attempting to start building businesses. So the model that I went with was building e-com stores. That was the thing that really appealed to me, because at the time I didn't like the idea of getting on camera. I wasn't very confident. I didn't like putting my face to anything. I didn't want to offer a service because I didn't really feel like I had any skills at the time. So the only sort of route that appealed to me was e-commerce, because the way this works is we build a brand and we source products from China and then sell them in the UK, for example, using social media, using paid ads. And that was a business model that I didn't need to attach myself to. And I think that's what motivated me to try that business first. In hindsight, it wasn't the best model for someone who is perhaps very early on in their journey, because it can get incredibly expensive. You need to invest into stock, you need to invest into ads, you need to test different products if you're doing dropshipping. Dropshipping is a slightly different model within e-com. The way that works is when a customer orders off your website, the product gets shipped from China, from the supplier, and it gets sent straight to the customer's house. So really it's a hands-off business model. So that can be great for beginners, because you're not needing to invest in a bunch of stock that might not sell. So you're just selling one at a time and the supplier delivers that to the customer. The only downside with dropshipping is it's very difficult to build a proper brand, because it's come from China, it looks a bit tacky, you can't really put your own sort of packaging on it, and the products usually are slightly lower quality unless you can find a decent supplier and a decent product. But it's great for beginners because it enables you to test without forking out thousands of pounds in stock. You do, however, have to run ads still. So that you can't get away from. You need to spend money to market the product, market the website, and to bring customers over and try and convert them on your website. So it can be a good business model for beginners, but at the same time, it depends what model you choose within the e-com business model itself. There's a few different things. It's like B2B, for example. You've got print on demand, you've got digital products. These all sort of fall under that e-com category. So that was the model I chose. I started off with dropshipping, and to be honest with you, it didn't go very well. I had a bunch of stores that just failed, and some of them started to make some decent money. I had like a few good months, but then for whatever reason, just down to lack of experience, they kind of died off after a few months, and then I was back to square one with a store that didn't really work, and the cost of my advertising just started to go up, and it just put me into a negative. So I tried that a bunch of times. I think I must have had about 7 or 8 stores at the time, which all failed. And then I think on my 9th store, this one I decided to private label. I took a bit of a gamble, and in hindsight, probably shouldn't have done that, but I thought, you know what, I'm going all in with this because I really want to quit my job. I don't want to work there anymore. I can see the powers of e-com. I was in these communities, I was networking with a lot of people who were building very successful brands. So I could see the results that you can get in this business model. And that's what motivated me to keep going, because I knew that you could make millions out of this. I just had to keep going. Again, not quit, and have that mindset, have that resilience to fail over and over again and just find what works, basically. So that this new business, I ordered the products from China. I couldn't really afford much at the time. I think we started selling these dog harnesses. We built a dog brand essentially. So it was like an aesthetic dog brand company for like premium looking harnesses, collars and leads for cute dogs on Instagram basically. And that was the business that eventually grew to the point where I was making enough money to replace my salary, because it took a number of years. It took 2 years to get to the point where I was making enough money from that business. But it started very small. It started with just one or two different, I think we had 2 different ranges of products, because again, that's all I could afford. So that cost around, I think it was around £4,000 at the time. And that got us enough to start building the website, start getting content, start building a rep team. This is what I always talk about, like building an affiliate army, I call it. So an army of people, and these are usually customers on Instagram that get content for you, and they also promote the product in return for commission. So that was a great way to sort of build that base, that community, and yeah, build out the foundation of what was to come. So we did that. It was really hard to scale, really hard to build at the start, because again, we didn't have like crazy amounts of products. We only had that 1 or 2 designs. So that was, it was quite difficult to start getting sales of that, because we found out that actually the design that we went with wasn't really that popular. So again, another poor choice, but we did manage to sell it in the end. And the money that we started to make from that first stock order, we reinvested and started to bring out a few different designs. So I think around a year in, we had around 5 different designs on our product. So for example, the harness had different patterns on, different shapes and sizes, and just basically the overall look of it was different. So we had about 6 different designs around a year in. And then we got to the point where we were starting to get more traction and slowly released new products. So we added a bunch of like different style leads, different types of products. We had added some like dog toys, and just expanded the catalog slightly. Not crazy, because again, we was only reinvesting the profits that we had and a little bit more of our own money, because at this point I was still working, my girlfriend was still working. So, I was still making money on the side, so I could put that back into the business to help grow it. And to be fair, we wasn't really profitable in those first few years. It wasn't until the second year came around that we actually started to have some really good months. But that first year, mainly, we wasn't profitable at all. So we was actually feeding the business with a lot of our own money. But this is the case with these online businesses. It's not just a quick win, overnight success. You have to keep going and try and find a product that people want so it sells easier. So yeah, 2 years in, we had enough products. I think we had around 25,000 followers on Instagram. The ads were converting. We had a really nice website. We invested into like premium themes, made everything look more professional, more credible. I think we got featured in Vogue. We managed to get our products into Debenhams. So again, they just look good from a credibility aspect, and that helped us get a few more customers and push people over the line because it looks more trustworthy. And then 2 years came around, and like I said, we was making a bit more money then, and I eventually just quit my job because I felt like, I'm working 40 hours a week. This business is now making more money than I was making at work. So it was the next natural step to buy back my time, those 40 hours in a job that I didn't enjoy, and replace that with building this business and scaling it up. So that's what I did. I quit my job and I continued to work on that business and scale it. And it was only then, when I finally did quit my job, then I had an extra 40 hours obviously. So I kept seeing like many different opportunities, and that's when things started to really take off, because not only did I have that business doing well, but I started to help people. I started to coach people on the side. And it got to the point where I'd been jumping on calls with people, I'd been networking and offering my help for free. And some people started to pay me for my time. And that's when I thought that I could turn this into a separate business I wanted to build a community full of people building these similar sort of businesses online, helping people replace their incomes. So that's what I did. I built a community, a coaching business, and that is what I mainly run today. I've got a few other different stores on the side, but my community business is insanely profitable, and it's incredible because it's really fulfilling. I'm actually helping people. I'm providing huge value, and it's just awesome to see other people get results in their own businesses. We've got lots of members that are making some serious money now, and not everyone is. You know, some are just starting, some are stuck, and it's nice being around people that are all looking to build a life by design, because that's what it's about. It's about building systems, building a business that can eventually replace your income so you can go full-time and do what you want every single day. There's no better feeling than that. It's not all about the materialistic things. It's not about having, you know, Lamborghinis or fancy watches. It's just being able to enjoy every single day as you wish. If you want to spend time with family, if you want to spend time with your dog like I am today, if you just want to relax, you know, you can do that. You don't have the pressures of being in a 9 to 5 and, you know, having a job that sucks all the life out of you, because there's no, you know, that's not the life. Work until you're 70 years old for a pension so you can eventually retire. That's not what life is for. Life is for living. So, you know, if you're young, if you're ambitious and you're in a job that you don't enjoy, there's no excuses. Just start learning these skills, start practicing, start applying yourself, and work on getting out of that job. Because if you just stay in that job you hate for the rest of your life, or even if you switch jobs up, you're still going to be trading your time for money. You're still going to be losing 40 plus hours a week. And like I said at the start, we're only on this planet once. So do things you want to do in life. If you've got a passion for something, if you've got an idea to build a business, then just try it. What have you got to lose? The worst case scenario, and I say this to everyone, is you just end up in the exact same position you are now. So what have you really got to lose other than a bit of money? But money comes and goes, but your time doesn't. Time is limited. So take advantage of the time that you have available, especially when you're young, especially when you're creative and you don't have a lot of responsibility in life. And I think this is one of the main factors that enabled me to quit my job so young, was because I don't have crazy responsibilities. I can take a lot of risks. And if they don't pay off, then, you know, it's not really a bad thing. Whereas I feel like when you get older, when you have all this more responsibility, it gets harder and harder to try things and fail. So if you're young right now, you've got no excuse, just try things and just have the mindset of you're going to fail a bunch of times, but eventually you will figure it out. So if you want to be around like-minded entrepreneurs, if you want to build a business for yourself, one of these e-com businesses, then get yourself in my free community, because I'm trying to help as many people quit their 9 to 5s as possible. And if you want more help, if you want my support, then I've also got a paid community, which, by the way, we also have a free 7-day trial. So you can get in, you can try it out for 7 days. I can jump on a call with you and we can create a bit of an action plan. And if it's still not for you, then no hard feelings. You can just cancel and you've not spent any money, basically. So inside that community, we hold weekly calls, we do networking events. I've got tons of training videos, hours of training videos, loads of support in there, loads of value in there. And again, it's all about being around people that have the same mindset, because if you surround yourself with multiple people that are looking to improve their life, then you're going to also improve your life. If you hang around with 5 people that smoke weed, then you're just going to become the 6th person that smokes weed. So get yourself in a room full of people that are doing the same thing, ambitious, hungry, hardworking people, and you will also become one of them. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I'll put the link in the description for both communities, but get yourself in the free one. It doesn't cost a penny, and you can check out what's going on inside and watch some of the free videos and start applying the learnings and build your own business. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.